question of Honorable Lonzi was answered, the framework and what was the argument of legal, saying why is it illegal for us to have this thing. We'll continue to have that conversation, DG. We'll also have a conversation, Deputy Minister, about whether we can project how much money we'll need for us to fund the entire system of NSFAS. The problem comes when the department can't hold institutions accountable for enrolling more than the targets that are planned. Because you give, what do you call it, what is the term that you use, the enrollment targets? Yeah, enrollment planning. So you say to UJ, for first year, you can only take 2.5 students because in 2030, this is the number of students we can afford in the system. And if they, instead of taking 2,500, they take 4,000, you don't hold them accountable. That's what creates a problem. Because the argument that we don't know the number of, we know, we should know. I mean, this year we only had 202,000 spaces available for universities. What makes it difficult is the argument we had, which Honorable Lonzi mentioned now, at the start session, that why would Council for Higher Education be the only entity that accredits law, for an example, LLB, one thing. But LLB at University of Limpopo, per annum we pay 40,000. But at VETS we pay 150,000. It's the same qualification, it's the same material, it's the same number of years. So that's what makes it difficult for us to project, because for the same thing, we're paying differently depending on who is appearing here. And we had said ourselves, we will have a colloquium on that, on cost fees. We must have a colloquium, sector-wide colloquium. Let's have a discussion about why would the same material, just because this water is, we just put, it's the same still water, going through the same process of purification process. But because this one comes from these people of Israel, and then this one comes from these people of Brazil, we want to pay more here. The same process. And actually, we'll just say, you must pay, same government must pay different fees for the same content. And we said, we don't agree with it. We debated around amongst ourselves that we don't agree with that thing. In fact, we will convene a colloquium to discuss that particular thing. That is one part of it. The second part that makes it difficult, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, is that we help this institution with the budgets that they've been talking about. We help them build some of the student accommodation. We co-fund them. After co-funding them, they charge more to this poor student. They say, NSFAS is only going to pay you 6,000. Madrona, we're charging you 8.5. So every month, we're going to charge you 2.5, but you don't have to pay it now. We'll add it at the end. They call it what? What is that? A top-up. They say, no, you'll have a top-up of 2,500. Where we have co-funded a project over and above the what do you call it, these funds that we give them, CIEGs, the grants. We give them so much in grants. To do what? To subsidize this education. For who? For this poor child who can't afford it. But this university still says, this universities this year, Deputy Minister, we're giving them 48 billion rands. More than how much we're giving to NSFAS, by the way. We're giving to universities as grants. Thank you. They still want to tell you, DG, that you can't decide or tell them, or even negotiate with them on the fee increment. There you don't enter. However, that should not be. In fact, they even come to us and say they're autonomous. We can't hold them accountable. In that strategic session, we had a conversation with Yusuf, and we told them, we want to have a conversation further with your executive. Because you can't tell us about, there's a difference between, or there should be, these principles are the same. The institutional autonomy, which is coupled with academic freedom, but there's public accountability. But how they speak about, then they say, and as a by the way, yeah, then public accountability. As a by the way, it can be. But they have that attitude because the department gives them that right. You make them feel as if They're untouchable. I don't think we should treat our public. In fact, what did they say? They're saying they're not public organs of states. They're saying, no, let's have an argument. We're not organs of states. And therefore, we're not supposed to account to you as parliament. You must speak to the department. I agree, you guys, they walk all over you. But no, we want to account, but we want to account to the department because we have given them that they can walk all over you. And we said, let's have this discussion of what is an organ of state. And I told them, I said to them, they must go and interpret Section 227 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. I said, go and interpret this thing for me. When we have that discussion, let's debate this particular issue. So, Director General, the department must wake up. We can't continue like this. If the ministerial statement in November is late, why can't we make it before these people close? Make a ministerial statement in September and say the fees locked at 2% increment, for an example. Maximum 2%. And let's see if they are going to respect it. Why must it be done in November if you are saying, you know, November is a problem? It's like we're saying, we know this thing is wrong, but we're going there. We're continuing with it. So I want to thank you, members. I want to thank you, Deputy Minister, DDGs present. I mean, I'm not happy with the skills branch. And where's Honorable Lonzi? The DDG is now taken, or to know, go and fix this. He's overseeing all of these things. This is his job. He gets 2 out of 12. How many percent is that? Kuri, it's bad. The 30% basic is better. 7%, 10%. Oh, but they obtain 98% on the others on spending. Then, as if that is enough, you say, no, you must go fix this problem. No. This I'm not happy about, teaching. It's like we're rewarding people who are not working. It can't be. Just that we did not have time. When we dealt with them in November last year, and we asked Mefuchan, why is infrastructure money going back? And she said, in my department, I don't even know how far is what in that particular. I can read it to you now. I was looking at the minutes of when we're having a conversation with you in November last year. It says, there's no coordination. I'm head of CET branch, but I'll be told that we've got this much money for infrastructure. But I don't even know who's appointed, how are they appointed, when are they appointed, how far is the program, nothing. The program head. There's a branch somewhere that deals with infrastructure. That's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Last year, 25th November, 2024, we said to you, go and fix this alignment of yourselves. You can't have one thing that way, you know. And CFO, I think you said you're going to come and give us a presentation. I don't remember who asked you that question. I want to understand, we achieve 60%, well, I'm just rounding off, we achieved less than that. But we've spent 99.9% of the funding. So if we were to achieve 65%, where would this money come from? So that when we criticize you for poor planning, you must know this is where it comes from. You have planned 400 targets, and you had 100 rands. And of course, some programs will cost 2 rands, some of them 20 cents, and all of that. But you've spent almost everything. Maria, you've achieved half of what you're supposed to achieve. In fact, in this 3 and 4, quarter 3 and quarter 4, you have achieved 100 out of 200 that you're supposed to achieve. You have achieved half. If you check 3 and 4. Now we're dealing with quarter 4 and quarter 1. But if you go back and check quarter 3, it was in quarter 3 you had achieved 42%. And in quarter 4 you achieved 58%. So you achieved half of what we are supposed to achieve in those 2 but the money is almost 100%. How is that possible? How do we make these plans of ours? And I've not heard a DG saying, this group, they've went through a DC for not achieving their targets. Because why do we put targets there and they are not binding? We must put a target there and say it's binding. Must go and achieve this thing. If you don't achieve it, a performance review for all of them. And stop having targets that you don't have control over. You put a target there that we want by 31st December 2024, Parliament to deal with legislation, to have finalized legislation. You don't enter there. You don't have any control on the work of Parliament. You have put it as a target. You say, I want Parliament, you don't have control over our program, but you put it as your target. How are you going to achieve it? So these members, are saying, must put you under under administration. But the department is going around putting people under. We want to put you. So according to them, you're under administration. So everything I write to you must write to the ministry, and we must write to the ministry to indicate this part, to inform him so that he can tell us a turnaround plan on how are we going to turn the department around, because there's serious problems. You can't have challenges like this. And they had said to me, like I said, that was a compromise. If we're not satisfied with that, we must write to the president as the employee of the DG that Tagalia Lertu. So it's not me, DG. So don't leave here tomorrow and say, because that useless team of yours is above us on the log for now, I'm targeting you. It's not me. It's these members. And I know many of them here support the big team. Many of them, they support the big team. I think the numbers are around 7-4. 7 to the big team, 4 to the smaller team, which is also younger, which is a child of the bigger one. So having said that, members, thank you very much. I want to thank you, DM Minister.